What's up, folks? I'm Private Hudson, and my birthday is on August 16. And the original plan was for me to take off work a couple of days and go to the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo on all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, as the event was coming closer, and I kept refreshing the guest list on there to see who the speakers were going to be, what kind of events there were going to be. That list did not get any larger. Um, it's been 4 years since the last time I went there, and I think there was one 3 years ago, which unfortunately I wasn't able to make it. But then there haven't been any since the pandemic started. So I was excited for it to come back, and I was willing to take the days off just so I could go through all 3 days and rest up and then get back to work. But the guest list was a little disappointing to be honest. So only went on Saturday. So yeah, so while the guest list didn't have that many heavy hitters as they were able to get in the past, it was still a fantastic event. I had a great time. I met John Riggs, awesome guy. I've been watching his channel for a couple of years now. Um, and yeah, and for some sort of reason, whenever I'm at these things, I keep forgetting to take pictures, so I barely have any. Um, and yeah, as usual, I brought my duffel bag and I stuffed it with a bunch of games that I bought. So yeah, this place is in a airplane cradle of aviation museum in Long Island. So all 3 floors of this place was basically the vendors were on the first floor, but in the side areas there were arcade machines, old computers, and on the second and third floor there were more arcade machines, more old computers, video game systems hooked up that you can just free play area. And and even that was a little less exciting than it was before, because when I went there 4 years ago they had a Tempest arcade cabinet. This was not here this time around. They also had the Sharp X 68,000, I think, and that was absent this time as well. I did get to play the Commodore PET in front of the moon landing exhibit, I guess. But it's like the only game they had on there was either Space Invaders or like a Space Invaders clone. I don't really know. I'm not that familiar with like games for early 80s computers or mid 80s computers and whatnot. So let's take a look at what I got. As you can see behind me, I am running lower and lower on space. So whereas before I mentioned that, oh yeah, I'm a quantity over quality kind of guy, this time around I was more selective, and I actually made a list of games that I was specifically looking for. And just in case you're wondering, let me just read this off real quick. So we got Soul Divide for the PS1, Saturday Night Slam Masters. I was hoping to get either a loose Super Nintendo cartridge or a complete in-box Genesis copy. Mobile Light Force for the PS1, Mickey Mania for either the Genesis or Sega CD, complete in-box for either one. Blue Reflections for the PS4, yeah, good luck. Eternal Champions for the Sega CD, Kakuto Chojin for the Xbox. I got a copy for free because the seller scammed me, so eBay refunded me, but the copy looks like crap and it doesn't have a manual, so I was hoping to replace it. Burning Rangers for the Saturn. I'm not going to buy the North American copy. I was hoping someone would have the Japanese one. Incredible Crisis for the PS1, Red Star for the PS2, Headhunter for the Dreamcast, just in case someone would have a PAL copy there. Robotica for the Saturn. I'm not really sure why this is on this list. It's a fairly common game, and it's a pretty bad game. Donald Duck Going Quackers. I was looking for all the versions, PS1, N64, if there was a version. I can't remember. Dreamcast, PS2, and whatever else was on, because all those versions are slightly different from one another. And I just Not really sure what's different. I think maybe they have different levels or something like that, but I was just hoping to get at least one version, preferably Dreamcast, and, maybe another one if it was cheap enough. Moving on, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim for the PS4, Jade Cocoon, either one, second one, preferably both, Street Fighter 2 for the 3DO, and Valkyrie Profile for the PS1. Out of all the games on this list, I think I only saw 3 of them at the convention. I only bought one, which was Mickey Mania for the Genesis. A couple of vendors had Valkyrie Profile. They were selling it for $400. And I was like, I can probably get it for 300, maybe 250-ish if I'm patient on eBay or something like that. I'm not in a rush. I just bought a copy of Lenneth, the PSP remake, complete in box. So, I'm not in a rush to get this. So yeah, $400, no thanks. So let's take a look at what I got. I've kind of layered it in a way that might make sense, but whatever. We'll just take it from the top of pile on the left. So first up, now, yeah, Crusaders of Might and Magic for the PS1. I only got this, okay, so I know I said quality over quality, but this was $10, and, I don't know, I am a Might and Magic fan, I am a fan of, New World Computing and 3DO, and I know this is not a good game, but, whatever. For $10, I'll see if it's as mediocre as everyone says it is. No loss for me. We got Colony Wars. I've never played. We actually might as well show this one too, because I got Colony Wars and I got the sequel, Colony Wars Vengeance. Never played of a Colony Wars game. I heard this is a good series. I know there's a third one. I don't think I saw it at the convention. Probably pick it up somewhere down the line. But yeah, I don't know much about these games. I think they might be similar to the Wing Commander series because they look like a spaceship combat simulator game. So yeah, I heard good things about them. I'll be looking forward to finally playing them. We got Rayman for the PS1, and I know what you're thinking. You're like, damn, dude, you should have gotten the Jaguar version, or you should have gotten the Saturn version. And, I don't have, in Heroes of Might and Magic, you get that infinite pouch of gold. I don't have that, dude. I don't have that, so I have to settle for the PS1 version. Either way, I'm happy to finally get this. I've been looking for this for a while, and, this was at a pretty good price. So, happy to finally have at least one version of this game. I know it's probably not the best one, but, at this point, I don't care. So that's all the, well, there's one more, actually, but, yeah, I might as well just maneuver this a little bit. And the last PS1 game that I picked up was Revolution X. Terrible game from what I heard. I've never played this before. I know it was ported to just about everything. Some crappy Aerosmith shooter. And by shooter, I mean not like a shmup, not like a side scroller, but something like Corpse Killer or something like that. And there's no like light gun support either. So yeah, I heard the actual arcade game was pretty decent. It was popular at least, but every single home port of this was terrible from what I read. And for some sort of reason, they even released versions of this for the Super Nintendo and Genesis. As opposed to just leaving it on the PS1 and Saturn. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. All right, moving on. I picked up 3 Dreamcast games. All of these are pretty. Oh, well, can't say all of them are pretty good, but 2 of them are. First up is MDK2. I know I have the PS2 version. I don't know. I think they renamed it slightly. I don't know what the difference is. But I do want to eventually get a full Dreamcast set, and I've played this before. It's a hard game. It's a pretty good game. Happy to finally have this. Next up is GTA 2 for the Dreamcast Classic. This was actually um my favorite GTA game for the longest time. I preferred it over 3 and Vice City for some sort of reason. I really liked the top-down style of it. I played this on PC a really long time ago. I'm pretty sure this and the first one are still free, that you can download them from Rockstar's website or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's a great game. I'm wondering how the Dreamcast port is. And then Fighting Force 2. Jeff Gerstmann gave this game a 3.6 out of 10 when he worked for GameSpot. So, looking forward to playing this. Yeah, this got some pretty bad reviews when it came out. I'm not sure why, because, the first one was okay. So, if they make a sequel, I would assume they at least improve some stuff. And the first one was just for the PS1, whereas this is for Dreamcast, so, assuming the graphics should be better too. But we'll see, I guess. Who knows? Next up, we got Def Jam Vendetta for the GameCube, a system I don't really collect for, but this was someone else was selling the PS2 version, and then I saw the GameCube version for the same price, and I'm like, why would I get the inferior PS2 version when I can just get the GameCube one, When it comes to this generation, I generally go for the best version of the game. It's usually the Xbox one. But this one only came out on GameCube and PS2, so I picked up the GameCube copy. And my buddy was there, told me this is a great game, and it's got DMX in it. So, yeah, no brainer. All right, got Lollipop Chainsaw for the 360. Yeah, and one thing to note is I have not played like most of these games before. So I don't have much to say about them. I do know about this game. I completely forgot about it. I think this was a pretty late 360 title. Um, yeah, I just completely forgot this existed until one seller had it behind like a glass case, and I'm like, yeah, let me get that. And so yeah, I got it. It should become a cult classic or something if it's not already. I don't know if classic might be a strong word. But yeah, it's some stupid game where you play as a cheerleader, you kill zombies, and for some sort of reason, you carry around your boyfriend's decapitated head with you, but he's still alive. I don't know. Again, I haven't played it, so I don't know the lore, the lore behind it. But yeah. Oh, we got Pocket Bike, Pocket Bike Racer for the, I guess the Xbox or 360. It plays on both. This is a Burger King game. Reason I got this is just because I have the other two Burger King games. You got Big Bumpin' and shit, I forgot what the other one is called, but it's not important. But yeah, this is just so I could say I have all three of the Burger King games, and I think this one is actually decent, or at least average. It's not terrible like the other two are, and it could actually pass for a real game if it didn't have like the Burger King branding on it. All right. Now moving on, we have Tales of the Abyss for the PS2. Yeah, I don't know really anything about it. I was like looking for it. I mean, I was thinking about buying it just a few weeks ago. And I thought to myself, I'll just wait for the convention. Maybe someone will have it. And someone did. And the price was good. So I got it. And of course, everything here is complete in box. I'm not going to buy like a PS2 game or, almost any game unless it's like an NES or an N64 game. I'm not buying something that's, not complete. All right, moving on. We got everyone's favorite Balan Wonderworld. God. Yeah, I know it's got awful reviews. Yeah, and this is the PS4 version. It's not even the Steam or the PS5 version, but whatever. I'm like, I saw it and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting it because it's cheap as hell. And it's still sealed. This is brand new. So, is this game as bad as everyone says? I don't know if they did any like post-launch fixes or updates for it, but I just gotta have it just because of the creator. Knights was a great game. So this might be a mess. It probably is a mess. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Streets of Rage for the Genesis. Yeah, I actually did not have a copy of this. I do have a loose cart of the Sega 6-pack, which does have Streets of Rage as one of those 6 games, along with Columns and the first Sonic. Uh, but I never had an actual, you know, physical standalone Streets of Rage, so I'm happy to finally get one. Mickey Mania, the game I mentioned before. Heard great things about this game. Sadly, I didn't see anyone with the Sega CD copy, but then it probably would have been twice the price of this. Which probably isn't worth it for the upgrades it has. I don't remember what the upgrades are. Probably just the soundtrack. I think there might have been a bit more to it. I don't know. We got Bob. Yeah, we got Bob. I don't know anything about this game. There's a robot. He's got a gun. And judging from the screenshots on the back, it looks like you walk around and you shoot stuff. And something about Bob and killer machines. 45 grueling levels. I think that's a 5. Should be. But yeah, I looked it up after I got home and the reviews were good, so it's probably a good Genesis game. Next up is Jurassic Park for the Sega CD. Of course, the case is broken, as is expected for every single big box Sega CD and Saturn game out there on this planet. And this looks like it's actually like a point and click game or something like that. Because I have the Genesis version, the side scrolling one. This, I don't know what it is, because the screenshots on the back look like it's some sort of, has some sort of point and click interface. I don't know how this plays, but whatever. It was like the most affordable Sega CD game that I found at the convention. And yeah, so I picked it up. And speaking of games, I barely saw any Sega CD games there. Barely saw any Saturn games there. Barely saw any 3DO long box games. I saw maybe like a total of 5 or something. Quality of guests was like not as exciting, and the game selection itself was also not exciting. Pretty much, I can't say there were any amazing deals there. Pretty much everything was being sold like at market value or slightly below if you paid in cash and didn't have to pay sales tax, whereas other things were just like priced through the roof when it came to the more expensive stuff was even more expensive than it regularly should be if you compare it to like price charting and eBay and Mercari prices. All right, but moving on, we're actually almost done. Yeah, I only picked up like 21 games or something like that. We got Ephemeral Fantasia for the PS2. I've never played it before. Don't know anything about it really, but it looks like, it's a PS2 JRPG, So yeah, picked it up along with another PS2 JRPG that I've never again, yeah, I haven't played most of these, so I don't know why I'm repeating myself over and over again. We got Ark the Lad, Twilight of the Spirits. I think there were 2 for the PS2. I played the other one. I think the other one had some online multiplayer component to it. I never got a chance to actually try that in multiplayer. I played that, single player uh, for maybe 2 hours before I got bored. That game wasn't really good. But this game, from what I saw, has some pretty good reviews. It's should be a respectable, decent game. Then we got Harvest Moon, Save the Homeland for the PS2. I didn't even realize that there was a Harvest Moon game for the PlayStation 2. So yeah, it's Harvest Moon. You plant stuff and then you give gifts and you go on dates or something. At least that's how the Super Nintendo game was. I haven't played a single Harvest Moon since that one. So no idea, but it's probably the same premise. And finally, the last game that I picked up was Galerion's Ash for the PlayStation 2. Yeah, I have the first one for the PS1, and I yet to play it. I didn't even know there was a sequel for it. I saw it. Price was reasonable, I guess I should say. Games have gotten significantly more expensive than they were just a few years ago. So, yeah. Um, Real-time battles in 60 frames per second. Whether that's true or not, I guess we'll have to see. So yeah, that's it. That's all the games that I picked up. Not a huge amount compared to what I usually buy when I either go to conventions or I go to video game stores. Again, I wasn't looking so much for the common stuff as I already own it. I was trying to get some off my list. Didn't really make any progress with that. Either way, I had a great time. It was great, even though it felt like a slight downgrade compared to what it was 4 years ago. I'm glad that that the world is kind of returning back to normal, and yeah, I'm sure if they have one again next year, it can only get better. That's all I have to say. It can only get better now that civilization is being restored. Well, all right, folks. That's the end of this video. I'm Private Hudson. I'll see you folks next time.